Hi, we're the sales team with Porsche Centre Calgary, and we wanted to do a video today explaining one of the things that we do a little bit differently around here that really separates us from a lot of the other dealerships out there. That being the way that we on the sales team are compensated. We do it in a very unique way, and it has quite a big impact, I think, on our jobs day to day, and also the experience for the customer as well. Now, I mentioned we are the sales team. That was maybe a little bit extreme. We're not all of it. We're missing a couple of our colleagues. Mark McKay is another one of our sales reps who's just downstairs at the moment. And of course, Miles McEwing, our sales manager. And it was actually Miles's whole concept that we're going to be talking about today. So he's sad he's missing out, but he's here in spirit. So I mentioned those two. Myself, I'm Colton Tykerobe. I'm one of the sales consultants here and pre-owned manager as well. And we'll go around, everybody can introduce themselves.
Thanks, Colton. My name's Scott Chapman, and my primary role is as the business manager.
Thanks, Scott. It's Andy Hayter, and my main role is to sell new cars and sales executive, Porsche sales ambassador.
My name is Hugh Bullen. I'm also one of the sales executives, and I also help out Scott in the business office when he's not here.
So, as I mentioned, we do things a little bit differently, and what I was alluding to there is that we have a pooled commission structure. So in pretty much every car dealership in the world, the salespeople are paid a percentage of the money that the dealership earns on each car that they sell individually. We don't do it that way here. Every vehicle that's sold, every bit of money that's made on all of those is put into a pool, and it's divided evenly amongst the whole team, which is pretty unique in and of itself. But we actually take it one step further than that. My colleague beside me here, Scott, as he mentioned, he's the business manager, so he handles all of the finance and leasing contracts, all the other paperwork that you'd have to do for a vehicle purchase. And he's the guy that you would talk to for any of the protection packages, prepaid maintenance, extended warranty, things like that. Everything that he makes any profit out of that department is also put into the pool and also kind of just spread out evenly amongst everybody. So as I said at the beginning, I think that has a pretty massive impact, and we're going to talk a little bit about how and kind of everybody's experience. So what do you guys think? How does it change the way that you do your job day to day compared to on a conventional structure?
I know for me, the biggest thing is high pressure or no pressure sales, certainly in our case. So some dealers maybe I've worked at or seen, there can be the pressure mentality where for the salesperson, you have to sell a car to make some money, and so you're always kind of chasing that next sale. And certainly the customers can feel that, I find, as if you guys have found in the past. But people might find, well, this person's just trying to sell the car, they're not actually looking out for our best interest. But for us, because we potentially know that, well, Colton or Randy might have sold a car, I'm still going to get paid at the end of the month. There's not that urge to force you into a vehicle, and we can actually figure out, well, maybe you don't need to spend quite as much on this, or maybe you can figure out this, and that actually, I think people get exactly what they want then, and actually it's just better for the customer. And it's also better for us. It relieves some stress on our end, which I think as a whole just makes it a much nicer atmosphere when you walk in. I don't know if you guys agree, but...
Yeah,
I agree completely.
I think it allows a better lifestyle for all the sales team. Everyone's a little bit more relaxed. You know, we can go on vacation. In previous sales jobs, you don't even think about vacation unless you have a good nest egg saved up, and you can walk away from a few deals while you're away for 2 weeks. And when you come back and you have other sales guys saying, oh, so-and-so was in, I helped do a delivery, I need a couple extra $100 because I did this for you. And you know, that's not really teamwork, and that doesn't happen here anymore.
And even on your day off as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you can plan we will have our set day off, and if the customer needs to come in on that one day, well then all of our colleagues are more than happy to help out, which is actually a real bonus, I think, on top of that.
Yeah, no, it really works both ways, right? It does make our lives easier. We get some extra benefits that other sales reps at other dealers wouldn't. Yeah. But then from a customer perspective too, you just don't have that stress of, oh, well, I talked to that guy and I better continue talking to him. I don't want to talk to this other guy and then offend my original salesperson and end up having to, you know, get in the middle of that and feel awkward. There's none of that. You know, you can come in, if somebody's my customer and they come in and chat with Andy or any of you guys, it doesn't matter. I'm happy, and we all know that the customer's getting the best service at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I really find is that when the customer gets to me, when they've completed the sale or decided to order the car, they often talk about their experience with each of you and explain how they felt really comfortable and felt like they were taken care of and handled very well throughout the entire experience, whether it be with just one person or with more than one, and oftentimes that ends up being the case. And so I really think it inspires that comfortable, confident feeling all the way around.
Yeah.
I like when I'm going through and designing a car with a client, and he may have talked to a few other sales guys or just being greeted walking into the showroom, we'll take whatever we design and we'll sit down with Hugh or Colton and say, hey, we built this, what do you think? And then it gives another perspective on that build to make sure you're getting the best car for you, or
Yeah, we
just
have
all the
different
right
tastes.
options. So we all have different tastes and
Yeah.
different designs.
You guys are also very comfortable in coming and grabbing me if you have questions about a finance or lease scenario.
Yeah.
You want me to inject some knowledge in the middle of what you're working with, and
Yeah.
hopefully that's there to help everyone out.
Well, and not to speak for you, but you don't mind doing that because it's not like that's taking
Yeah.
you away
Yeah.
from what you need to do to make money. There's just no stress that way.
It's helpful, yeah.
I think another benefit, in my opinion, is not everybody necessarily gets along. So as a sales guy, sometimes you might not click with somebody, or that person might not click with you, and it's really quite great on our team that everybody is very, very different. So somebody who I might not get on with, you might, and vice versa. And so that is another aspect I think that really helps. If maybe it's just not going as you as a customer feel, we can then sort of adapt there and give you the best possible service.
And that's okay. None of us are offended by that, right? Sometimes you're just not hitting it off with somebody. It's not going quite right. Maybe you just don't like Hugh's accent. You don't want to deal with him. That's fine. Come in the next day, chat with somebody else, and we're all happy to help. Nobody's feelings are hurt. And again, we just want the customer to get the best service, to make sure that you're
Australia?
finding the right car for it.
English, Andy.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Now we sell special cars here, obviously, and we want the experience to be special as well.
Yeah.
And it's I think that really
100%.
changes that.
Miles is a
makes
journey,
it,
right?
Yeah, no, exactly, as it should be, and it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as we alluded to originally, each of us do have a supplementary role that we focus on as we have opportunity with downtime, or whether it helps our group and our team grow stronger. But I'll let Colton speak first, but he has a supplementary role rather that he focuses on.
Yeah, I mentioned at the top, I'm one of the sales consultants, but I'm also the pre-owned manager, so I kind of handle all of those responsibilities as well. Scott, as he said, he's the finance manager, and Hugh, I'll let you guys chat about it yourselves, but Hugh is kind of supplementary to Scott as well, will help out with all that stuff. So as kind of a result of some of that, we're all pretty empowered individually as well, and you don't have that dynamic that you do in so many stores where you get talking to somebody and you get kind of halfway through the sale and then
Let me
yes,
talk
you
to
want
my
to talk to somebody
manager.
else,
Yeah, exactly.
right? And break it up, and it's just awkward. You don't have that here, right? You just come in and you talk to one of us, kind of start to finish. Eventually, you do get handed off to either Scott or Hugh, but in most cases, you've already met them anyways.
It's seamless.
You've met them beforehand, and it's a lot smoother. Nobody's out to get you. You don't have to worry about what are they talking about over there in that office with the sales manager, right?
Yeah, you don't get that.
I agree. Yeah, and as I mentioned, my primary role being the finance manager or business manager, whatever you want to call it, my primary role being managing the mostly behind the scenes stuff, which is prepping the deals, making sure all the paperwork's prepared, the vehicle's prepared, and everything goes smoothly from the time they decide to purchase the car until the time they pick it up and have the car delivered into their hands. And the nice thing for me is that I can also feel confident if I need to step in, because let's say we're having a busy day and I need to put my face out there and help with someone who's coming who wants to see a car. I can sell a car, not feel like I'm taking away from what I ultimately need to be doing, as we're all reaping the benefits of that too, and also able to help the client. And moreover, I have the support from Hugh, so that if I do get busy, it means that we all have confidence that he can support me and support us as a team. But what I really like is that in my world, we're able to collaborate as a team and think of products and services that I think best suit our clients, our cars, and hopefully help the overall experience. So
Yeah. I guess I'm next.
Yep.
you're up.
Main duty again is to help consult you guys on ordering and fulfilling your Porsche dreams on your new cars. And then I also look after new vehicle inventory and to the lines of getting new allocations, and if we've put in a bunch of order demands. So right now let's talk about 992, 911s. So we have people coming in, ordering these cars, they're pre-orders, and then we get allocations, and I'll look at the guys' commission numbers, and then I'll see who's in first position, second position. I don't like using first and second, but I'll consult with those people and say, hey, does this guy need a car for July or August? And then we'll allocate the proper allocation to that person, and then the sales consultant will give you a car. So that's ultimately what I'll take care of, and make sure that an allocation gets the proper options again. So Porsche Canada will give us an allocation for a 911. It'll come black on black with an automatic transmission and no options. So we really don't like no option cars here. So then we'll make sure that car gets optioned properly for inventory, or gets marked as a sold unit. So we don't have a zero option car in, which has happened previously, but my main duties are to make sure that doesn't happen.
And you also clean up the order bank a little bit too, make sure that everything's spoken for, and that everything's accounted for, and we know what's happening when these cars arrive.
Make sure we don't have doubled up on the same cars, and make sure there's no stale order demands, and make sure everybody's still alive.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess that leads on to me. So as these guys have said, Scott's day off is Friday, so basically when he's not here, I'll fill in for him and handle turnovers and everything that Scott has done. And again, when you're busy and when you're on vacation. So back to that part of the pool, it's really nice that our business manager, we only have you can take a week off and not have to worry about anything, so you can just go away, right? So I've got a few years of experience in that, so I obviously selling cars is my primary role, but I guess being an assistant business manager would be my secondary role.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, I've got plenty of experience in there, so can answer really any question if it comes to financial matters.
But that's kind of what I'll mention before we kind of wrap up here is you see a trend in the industry when I look at dealerships. The salespeople are kind of doing less and less. Right? You might just greet a customer, go on a test drive, and then you're handed off to someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else. And with us, you just don't have that. Each of us, you know, when you're dealing with one of us, that we are informed, empowered. We know what we're doing. You know, we can offer genuine help and advice, and as I said at the top, I think that has a pretty big impact. I hope some of the insight that these guys gave was helpful to you guys. I hope you agree that this is kind of a cool system and works well for everybody, but do give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. You know, if you've been in and dealt with this before, maybe share some stories that way, and if you think it's kind of a cool idea, or if we're all just kind of being silly and should go back and do it like normal. So again, I hope you found this helpful. Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
Cool.
Now we're ready to
Come on, what are
hands
you?
out of your face.
Have you done a video before?
He's 12.
We're about together.
Scott, just be pull it together, man.
Sorry, mate. You got to give me a sec.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Is there one?
I'm trading him in for somebody else.
I want to do a video today explaining one of the things that we do differently around here that separates us from the other dealerships. That being the way that we are all compensated. Are you kidding me?
If we haven't, let's do a barbershop. Subscribe.
Why did you subscribe?
Oh, subscribe.
Are you recording this? And this was the blooper at the end. Okay, great.
Yeah.
No, I don't like it.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Like.